While heading to school, Alex receives a message from his buddy Felix. He mentions that two students are tailing him and are looking to start a fight. Alex rushes to school, and as soon as he gets there, he hears Felix shouting for help. Alex heads over to lend a hand. Lance, a student, goes after him, throws a punch, and takes him down. So Alex totally loses his cool and ends up getting into a fight with Lance. So after that, the principal gets really upset with Alex and tells him that he'll be expelled if he misbehaves again. The following day, the principal has Alex and Lance attend behavior modification classes together. In class, Lance makes fun of Alex and throws some insults his way. After class, Lance and his buddy Kay go after Alex to give him a hard time. Alex makes a dash for it, slipping into a building that's still being worked on to find a place to hide. Out of nowhere, Lance and Kay show up, and Alex freaks out, accidentally tumbling off the top of the building. He passes out. Lance and Kay believe he's dead and hurry away in a panic. So, Alex wakes up and thinks, "Hey, I'm all right, because the fall wasn't that far." So, Alex begins searching for an escape and stumbles upon a rock. He takes a sword out of it. Alex gives Felix a ring and asks if he can meet up. So, after that, Alex and Felix take a seat to check out the sword, and Alex spots some writing on it in Latin. Felix pulls up a translation app and discovers that the sword hails from a city named Tentacle. When Alex hears this, he thinks the sword is special since his dad lived there. So, Alex picks up this book that his dad gave him ages ago. The book shares the tale of a king named Arthur who battles against evil. When he passed away, he drove his sword into the earth, and no one has ever been able to pull it out since. So, Alex really thinks this could be King Arthur's actual sword. He decides to hide it and then heads off to sleep. The following day, a teacher chats with the students and introduces them to a new student named Morton. The students begin to tease him since he appears older than they are. Right then, Alex is feeling really confused because he can't shake the feeling that Morton is keeping a close eye on him, and it's making him a bit uneasy. Later on, Morton chats with Alex and mentions that he knows Alex was the one who pulled Arthur's sword. He mentions that in just 4 days, there's going to be a solar eclipse, and during that time, a woman named Morgana will come up from underground and sweep across the whole world. Alex just brushes him off, thinking Morton is a bit out there, and then turns to walk away. As Felix heads home, he chats with Alex and starts to wonder how Morton figured out he was the one who owned the sword. Alex feels a wave of fear and chooses to put the sword back where it belongs to steer clear of any potential issues that could come up because of it. One night, Alex hears a weird sound that wakes him up. Curious, he heads over to his room window to see what's going on outside. He can't believe his eyes when a terrifying monster suddenly pops up from the ground and starts coming his way. Suddenly, he hears a loud crash coming from inside the house, so he steps outside to check out what's going on. He's totally taken aback to see the monster wielding a sword and making its way to his room. Right then, Alex grabs Arthur's sword and steps up to face the monster. So, the monster drops the sword from his hand and nearly takes him down. But then, out of nowhere, the monster just vanishes. So, after that, Alex spots Morton just lying on the ground. He chats with him and realizes that Morton was the one who rescued him from the monster. Morton asks him to meet up the next day at a restaurant to go over everything. Out of nowhere, Morton transforms into a bird and flies away from the scene. Once he's settled in, Alex opens up the book his dad gave him and starts to read. He finds out that Morgana is actually King Arthur's sister and that she once attempted to kill him to take the throne for herself. But Arthur was stronger than she was and locked her away underground. So, when Alex pulled out the sword, it turns out he actually freed her. So, now he's got the job of taking down Morgana and saving the world from her wicked plans. Alex can't believe his eyes when he stumbles upon details about an old man with magical powers called Merlin in the book. He thinks this old man is Morton, since he transformed into a bird right in front of him. The next day, Leah heads over to Alex's room to wake him up for school and is taken aback to see him sleeping with a sword in his hand. She chats with him and realizes that Arthur is just a made-up character. She tells him to take the sword back to where he found it. But Alex just shakes his head and walks out of the house. Eventually, he and Felix make their way to the restaurant and chat with Morton, and that's when Alex finds out that Morton's real name is Merlin. Merlin shares that he dressed up as a boy so he could chat with Alex without any worries. He tells him that the monster that attacked him is a soldier from Morgana's army and asks him to get ready to fight her and stop her destroying the world. Alex, feeling scared, hands over the sword and explains that he's just a kid and can't take her on. Right then, Merlin shifts into his real self and taps into his magic to give Alex a glimpse of what the world would be like if he chose not to stand up against Morgana. Alex can't believe his eyes as he takes in the destruction and fire all around him. So, after that, Alex heads back to the spot where he discovered the sword, chats with Felix, and finds himself feeling a bit confused about what his next move should be. Just then, Lance and Kay show up and make a move to grab the sword from him. Alex sticks the sword into the rock and lets them know that it'll be theirs if they can manage to pull it out. Lance gives it a go, but he just can't seem to pull the sword out. Alex tells him he's the only one who can pull the sword, and then he asks them to be his friends and watch him do it. They're on the same page? So, when Alex pulls out the sword, Lance jumps in, goes after him, grabs the sword, and starts making fun of him. Out of nowhere, a soldier from Morgana's army pops up from the ground, making Lance drop his sword and come dangerously close to getting hurt. But, Alex swoops in and saves him just in the nick of time. More soldiers show up and Lance douses them with gasoline before lighting it up. He can't believe it when he finds out that the fire doesn't affect them at all. So, Alex and his friends are making a run for it. And they can't help but be shocked when they see that people are just vanishing from the city. Morgana shows up and suddenly, people start vanishing. Out of nowhere, the soldiers show up at their spot and start chasing them. So, one of the soldiers ends up hitting Kay, and then she jumps into the car trying to make a getaway with her friends. But then, one of the soldiers shows up right in front of her. So after that, Alex grabs a seat with Lance and Kay, fills them in on everything, and asks for their help to tackle Morgana's attack. They've decided to lend him a hand. The following day, Alex and his buddies make their way to the city of Tantichil. Thinking that Morgana is around, like the book says, Merlin decides to join them to help find her. He uses his magic to open a portal that whisks them away to the archaeological site in no time. So, Merlin crafts a sword for each of them and starts getting them ready to take on Morgana. So, during the training, the trees go black whenever Morgana takes control and starts attacking them. So, Merlin swoops in at the last second to transport them, but using his magic really takes a toll on him. He ends up needing to take a break to recharge his strength. Lance is about to take off, but Alex steps in his way. The sword got broken during the battle, and Alex is really frustrated with Lance's reckless behavior. So Alex reaches out to the Lady of the Sea, and she works her magic to bring the sword back to its original glory. Lance says he's sorry and chooses to stick around with Alex to face Morgana together. So they run into a group of scouts, and Alex throws out the idea of grabbing their horses. But then, out of nowhere, they just vanish. The Morgana soldiers come back and start chasing Alex and his friends, who quickly run into the forest to escape. So Alex figures out that the soldiers are trailing the guy with the sword. He decides to lead them to this high cliff and, well, they end up falling into the water and meeting their end. In the morning, Alex heads over to his aunt's place to search for his dad. She tells him that his dad was a bit of a mess and took some big risks, and that he vanished about a year back. Alex feels pretty down when he finds out the truth and is definitely disappointed. But with a little push from his friends, he gets back on track with the mission. Merlin backs him up and hands the book back, pointing out the castle where Morgana resides. So, Alex and his buddies show up at the castle and head through this long tunnel, and out of nowhere, tree branches start going after them. So, Alex finds a way to get away. Morgana shows up and turns into a scary monster, and Alex chooses to face her head-on. He plunges the sword into her, bringing her pain and wreaking havoc in the area. Alex and his friends make a break for it, thinking they've finally taken down Morgana. When he gets home, he finds Leah asleep and feels a sense of relief for uncovering the truth, even though he's still sad about his dad. The next day, he wakes up and starts thinking about how to protect the trees around his house. So, at that moment, Merlin shows up and tells him that Morgana is still alive and kicking, and it's all because Alex doesn't have any of those knightly qualities. He tells Alex that one of the knight's qualities is being truthful and brave, and that he shouldn't be upset with the people who care about him. In that moment, Alex realizes he's feeling upset with Leah. So, he heads over to her, offers an apology, and shares the story about the sword. But she just doesn't buy it. So, Alex takes her to the lake and chats with the Lady of the Sea, asking her to bring the sword. The sword lifts up from the water, and Leah starts to believe him. So, after that, Alex hangs out with his friends and they find out there are just 6 hours to go until the solar eclipse starts. He figures out that Morgana is still out there and is planning to go after humans. They figured it would be a good idea to ask the school students for help, since Morgana's soldiers would be way too many for them to take on by themselves. So, they head over to the school, and Alex starts chatting with the students about the risks our world is facing. He says that if they don't step in, Morgana is going to make them fight alongside her. The students are busy setting up traps all around the school, and Merlin kicks off some lessons on how to wield the sword. Just then, the solar eclipse kicks off, and a bunch of Morgana's soldiers burst out of the ground, launching an attack on the school. The students are using the traps they created to take out a few soldiers while continuing to fight bravely. Alex sees that there are more soldiers around, so he tells the students to head up to the school rooftop. So, out of nowhere, Morgana shows up and transforms into this massive monster, breathing fire at them. So, Alex comes up with this clever idea and starts running, making Morgana chase after him. Meanwhile, the students are busy cutting the ropes that are holding her back to help her stop moving. Merlin works his magic to help them hold her in place. So, Alex hops onto the coral and takes her head off with the sword, ending her life. At last, things are getting back to normal, and the students are thrilled that they managed to save the world. The following day, Alex heads to the lake and makes the choice to toss the sword into the water. Merlin chats with him, letting him know that his mission has come to an end, but he'll be back if the world ever needs him again.